The effects module, beast and a half. That was quite a challenge. Here we have valve, overdrive, same circuit that I used in the Voxtron, an actual valve inside there. Does some interesting things that's not meant to, but hey, I'm not bothered, it sounds interesting. I've got an auto panner, allowing take a mono signal, turn it to a stereo. It's a reasonably straightforward thing, has an LFO with multiple different sort of waveforms there, has a width control to control the width of the stereo and the depth. Below that we've got a Phasor. Now this is a Haible, I'm not sure how you say his name, which is a 20-pole Phasor. That makes some interesting sounds. We'll get into that a bit later. Going up again, we've got a chorus pedal. So again, Haible's, sorry about the name pronunciation there. It's a tri-chorus effect, like a Selena. Very nice sound. Below that, we've got Oakley Sound Systems ADR30 module, BBD. Absolutely lovely sounding BBD module. To the right, spring reverb. I decided to put a spring reverb in as an effect as well as an instrument, so you can actually pluck those springs in there if you like. There's a reasonably simple controller interface there. To the left of that we have FV1. So again, it's a experimental noise FV1 digital effects module with some basic delays in it, with a couple of interesting effects thrown in for good luck. Down the bottom here, I've created a feedback mod mixer. So basically you can feed a signal through an effect twice with a bit of control. Over there I've got a parametric EQ thrown in, so you can tune your feedback to a certain frequency. And as you can see down the bottom, these effects are actually controlled via a patch bay. That external patch there is the access to the Tau Hydra's outputs, and then it's just 3.5mm 1/8" jacks to patch it all together. The audio comes in here. We've got a level control. It gets changed from a 6.5 to a 3.5 there. And similar on the output. We've got a stereo output there, and that's where your stereo output comes through there. I'll go in a bit more detail when we actually get some audio happening with this. To be honest, I haven't actually patched the control signals out of the Tau Hydra yet, so we'll see what happens. The valve overdrive is an actual 12AX valve. Has a few controls. We have the bass bypass. As you can see, if the bass is a bit overpowering, you can filter it out. Bit of a filter there. The gain's great. The way it goes nuts the minute you go full gain. And there's a clipping set of diodes at the end of that. So that's quite lots of nice distortion. And the other next module in the row, since the valve's quite simple, is an auto panner. So it's a stereo auto panner. I've got it set to sine wave here. Controls trigger, that's a special mode I'll explain afterwards. Speed. Waveforms. Width is basically goes from stereo down to a mono tremolo, and of course depth is just basically a mix.
One of the nice features I've added in, which links the controls of the Tau Hydre to it, is the trigger function. If I go to trigger, that will now respond to the keyboard trigger. And what it does is it will play through a waveform once based on the trigger. So this is really good where you use some of the more complex waveforms. This one, for example. If you take it slower down, as you can hear, it goes wide and it goes thin. Again, there, I've just got a sine wave. So it goes left, right, and then back to center. I think it's quite a nice function. This is a 20-pole Phasor. And here it's what it sounds like. So you have a pitch control, you have a resonance control. Also has a modulator, so I can kick that in. Has a dual range for the LFO. There's a speed control, your depth control, and you can also I'm using the LFOA. Smooth, I think it just changes a triangle to a sine wave for the modulation, not that obvious. We also have vibrato. Not that obvious effect. There's a couple of colours. And finally, we have two output levels. The chorus module. So this is a Selena chorus emulator. I'll just go back to dry. That's the dry signal. Now it's active. The shape is an LFO speed, really. There's a couple of different emulation modes here. One, which is probably the one I'd use the most, which allows you to kick in the EQ. Which is quite nice. So you got a high, mid and low here. I'm not sure why I put high on that side. Anyway, it is what it is. You can turn the modulation off. That just allows you to use the equalization without the effect. And of course, we just tried that. That's the bypass. Now, what the original didn't have this, which is just basically a simple stereo mixer, top a level, bottom of pans, and this gives you a nice spread of a stereo effect. BBD. We have a input level, which is pretty straightforward. There's a time, which also has a range. There's a repeat function with feedback. It's always fun. You can see CV modulator. I've connected the LFO A into it at the moment, just on square wave doing some crazy things. I'll turn that off. It also has its own internal LFO as well. Also has the feature which the auto panner has, where the LFO can be triggered. Quite good for There we go. FV1, that's a spin semiconductors module. It's a nice little unit which can do DSP effects. I've set it up mostly to do digital echoes and a reverb with a couple of special effects, and I'll just go through them quickly. That's not dissimilar to the BBD. Difference being this is stereo. Doesn't have as nice feedback either. Has a nice reverb though. So the controls are basically, there's three parameters assigned to each effect that you can use. It's a bit of a limitation, but I think it's actually quite good for this sort of level of effect. Mix control, and there's just an algorithm selector. That's a nice sort of glitchy patch. And last. Quite nice. There it is, the FV1 module. The spring reverb, this is a bit of a tricky one. It's got a bit of a buzz in it at the moment, but we'll go through it anyway. Dry. It does have a feedback section in it, which I'm not quite sure about. Anyway, the driver for that's a bit of an experimental thing that will probably change. One of the nice things about spring reverb, of course, is you can do this. So the last module is a feedback module. So the idea here is that it feeds a signal back through an effect that you plug into it, and it also has a parametric EQ, so you can tune the feedback. So it's a bit of a fiddly one, but I'm just trying it on the FV1 for the moment, which has just got a bit of a delay sound. It's very fiddly, does interesting things. I just wanted to play a sequence